talking, you'll be on the machine. Torah Parsha Shemot, page Mem Test, second column, third paragraph. Okay, now the Rebbe is basically, after he gave the introduction, what's the difference? Why do they have to count? Why they have to count again, and why there are a few differences between last time and this time. So now the Rebbe starts explaining Galus Mitzrayim was a double descent and therefore a double elevation. And he says, because what's the double expression? One for now, one la'as loving. So now the Rebbe started explaining that the purpose of Galus Mitzrayim was to be able to receive the revealed Torah. The Galus now, before Mashiach, is to get ready and preparation for the Pnimius HaTorah. And he said that's the similarity between Gehenim and Galus. Both are refining the neshama to be able to go and get this Gilui, either of Gan Eden or Mashiach. And he says, because the neshama is limited, the only thing it needs to do to make a keli is learn Torah. That's what we're up to now. So he says, third paragraph, second column. This is what the pasuk, the Chazal say on the pasuk. Shishim Heimel Malchus, 60 kings. It says in the Medrash says, what does that mean? Elu Shishim Esechtes. That refers to the 60 tractates of Gemara. Ushmein and Pilakshim and the 80 concubines, those are brises. Valom is saying Mispud. This simply means a lot of infinite amount of young maidens. Elu halachas refers to halachas. Okay, so it says like this. Mishnah is Malchus. Mesechtes is, Pelakshim, concubines of Brisa. Alama say Mispah, young maidens represents halachas. What's the connection that the Medrash says? That the Shishim Malchus is the 60 Mesechtes, K'maymer Azal Masnita Malchuso. That a Mishnah is the level of a king. It says when a woman gives seed to give birth, so Adam, the red part of it, Shemenu Basa, the flesh comes, the primary birth of the baby, the planting of the baby comes from the tipas nukva, comes from the woman's tipa. And what's the purpose of the male seed? Levada tipas nukva, to purify the tipa of the woman. That from the good of it comes the baby. So he says the woman has the major part of the seed for the baby. The male sperm is to refine the woman's seed, and then you come a healthy baby. Like it said, Vatazreini Chayil, Milashim Zeiras again, for winnowing the silos, B'chinas Beirudim. Okay, then skip this whole parentheses, like 10 lines. V'kach, Hine Mishnah, what is the level of a Mishnah? Hem B'chinas Beirudim, B'chochmes Beirudim. What does a Mishnah do? A Mishnah defines and says, this is kosher, this is not kosher. This is good, this is not good. So the purpose of a Mishnah is to refine life. You know, what's right, what's wrong. Pirish mutter, what does mutter mean when you say something is permissible? So simply it means, yeah, you're allowed to eat it, or you're allowed to do it. But mutter actually means untied. Matir asurim. That the spark of Kedusha in this permissible food or permissible object is mutter, meaning the spark of Kedusha in it is untied. It's not bound to the klipa. And therefore, if you make a bracha on it, you eat it for the right purposes, you elevate that spark to Kedusha. And you're able to elevate it back to Kedusha, ki adam hu nefesh. Because the blood is the soul. Every food that we eat, nepach ledam, turns into blood. Who's smoking? Is that somebody smoking?
Somebody is smoking here?
I don't smell any smoke.
No, I smell.
Somebody's perfume.
It's perfume?
Somebody's perfume? Who's perfume?
Cheap perfume.
From outside. From outside?
Oh yeah, there is a nice smell.
Now they say that
Pacific palm trees is good. It's a nice smell.
Kitlash Liden, because the three dominating forces of the person, Kavda, Liba, Mecha, the liver, the heart, and the mind, Shen is bar Adam, that the blood becomes refined, bitter, achar bitter, refinement after refinement. And therefore the food you eat turns into blood. And then you're able to daven and learn with all your might. So that if the food is mutter. In other words, like this. What does Mishnah do? He says the purpose of a Mishnah is to refine. So the Alter Rebbe says simply it means what's permissible and what's not permissible. But he said, what's the definition of permissible? That the spark of Kedusha in it is unbound, it's untied, and therefore you could refine it from the Klippa, again, refining and separating, and that power is elevated to Kedusha.
at distance.
What?
At distance.
Yeah. Ava Maichalas, so asuras, but if it's forbidden food, which means asur, that the Kedusha in there is bound to evil, Agam shalem in mispal b'karach achile. This is what the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya also. If a person eats and davens from the power of that pig that he ate, it doesn't go up to Hashem. That's the concept of refining food. What's refining food? Not only what's allowed and what's not allowed, but in the deeper sense is, are you able to refine the spark of Kedusha that's in it or not? The same thing, garments in houses. Which garments you're allowed to wear, which houses you're allowed to have, and so on. In the bitter, this bitter, to elevating the sparks of garments. Again, in the Mishnah says, what garment, like shatnez, you're not allowed to wear. Goyish garments you're not allowed to wear, whatever it is. And the same thing with houses. Houses of Avodah Zarah you're not allowed to have. Putting on mezuzahs. all those stuff that deal with food, clothing, and shelter. That's refined Aidei Chachma Bechinas Mishnayis. Through Chachma, which is the level of Mishnayis. What is Chachma? Short and sweet. Very koyach. What is a Mishnah? A Mishnah doesn't have the whole elaboration of the Gemara. Rabbi Yehuda Anasi wrote the Mishnah in very, very bridge terms. Very like Chachma. And the Gemara elaborates on it. That's the level of Bina, elaborating on the Mishnah. But in order to bring down Chachma of Hashem. You serious? You coming?
Yeah, he's here. They're here.
Where is it from?
By the alley.
Yeah?
But you don't know if it's fire. Maybe something.
The fire department is here. I don't know.
They didn't come with the sirens. It's funny. That's through the Tanoim that wrote the Mishnah. Like it says, by his son, the strong ones may stay audits. There's a pasuk that says the strong ones that founded the earth. He said the word Esanim is the same letters as Tanoim. Tanoim of the Mishnah.
So how's the? I'm sorry. So things are tied, things are not tied. However, pork when Mashiach comes,
We'll be able to be elevated. Yeah, but now we can't.
how does that change it? If it's something tied.
Because if the Kedusha is greater, you have a stronger power. Not only that, it works the opposite ways also. There were things that were biblically permitted. And then later generation, the Chacham said you're not allowed to eat it. Okay. So now you can't elevate it. Like I'll give you an example. Biblically, chicken and milk is not forbidden. Because it says in the mother's milk, chickens don't have a mother's milk. So halachically, chicken is not, you can eat chicken and milk. Chum came along a later generation and said, no, you're not allowed to eat chicken and milk. Okay? So Chassidus explains, why did they forbid it now? Because as generations digressed, now we don't have the ability to elevate that spark of Kedusha that's in chicken and milk. Before they were greater, they were able to do it. Later generation, they were not able to do it. Right? So therefore, they became forbidden. And the same thing later on, as the Chacham make more decrees and things which are forbidden. It's because, not because the Stam want to be machmir for, because now we can't elevate it. If you can't elevate it, you can't eat it. That's the vart. The vart is, if we can't elevate it, you can't eat it. Not the opposite. Because it's forbidden, you can't eat it. It's the opposite. Why can't you eat it? Because you can't elevate it. Therefore, it became forbidden. And that applies to Exile, Chum, and so on. So Mashiach comes, the Galut is going to be so powerful, so great, we'll be able to elevate even Chazir. The Medrash says, why is it called Chazir? Lahachzir, to return. Because eventually Chazir, the Medrash says, it's going to be kosher. What? Choser.
What changes? Is Mashiach changing?
The Kedusha level in the world.
We change.
No. The Kedusha level in the world allows us to elevate it. We change also when Mashiach comes. We're also going to be on a greater level. Evil will be removed, so we don't have our evil blocking and covering the level of Kedusha.
The concept of Tahara and Tuma will be irrelevant.
Correct. Well, the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, not necessarily, whatever, but in a different level.
So why do we need the red heifer? If there will be no concept, as he said.
First of all, Mashiach comes, all of us are tummy mess. For the initial state, we're going to need a lot of paradumas to purify the whole world.
We need
But the same, paraduma. But the same thing the Rebbe asks, it says, the sixth city of refuge. Then the pasuk, Ki yachav Hashem l'kalchas gvulcha, you're going to add 3 more cities of refuge. Yeah? So altogether it will be 9. So Rashi said, when is that going to happen? Didn't happen yet. So Mashiach comes, there's going to be 9 cities of refuge for somebody killing somebody accidentally. Yeah? So the Rebbe asks, but then there won't be any more evil, there won't be any more accidental deaths. So on the contrary, why are you adding more? You should be less. Okay, the Rebbe explains it, whether for the people now it's a hindrance that it shouldn't have, whatever. But I'm saying, so the Bar Aduma is going to be, and secondly, just like we learned in Gan Eden, you have to go from level to level. Now Gan Eden is good, right? But we learned in the other Maimer that from going from level to level in Gan Eden, you have to go through the mikveh, now the dinur, right? The purification to go up to a higher level. Or in a more down-to-earth level, Reb Zayda went from Bavel to Yerushalayim, and he wanted to forget Talmud Bavli to learn Talmud Yerushalmi. So he had to bittul, he had to, the river, you go into a mikveh, you bottle your table under the water. Bittul is the same letters as tefillah, you go under the water. So Reb Zayda, in order to come to a higher level, had to forget Talmud Bavli. Talmud Bavli is also good. But good compared to better is not good. So relatively speaking, good compared to better is tamei. In a refined level, it's not tamei, it's kedusha. But compared to a higher level, you need to go to the mikveh because you're impure, right? You got to get rid of that impurity. It's Kaneden or Elyon, whatever. It is what it is. But compared to a higher level, you need the. So the level of tum and tara won't be like we have it now. But it'll be in Kedusha itself, in Tara, you have a greater level of Kedusha. To give you a simple example, the Kohen God, we go to a mikveh, okay? So women go to mikveh to remove impurities. Men go to a mikveh, it's not only to remove impurities, it's to add a level of Kedusha. The person who's not tummy and goes to the mikveh, still, they're adding Kedusha, that's why they're going to the mikveh, right? And you find this clearly. The Kohen Gadol, on Yom Kippur, went to the mikveh 5 times. Now the Kohen Gadol did not become Tomei 5 times on Yom Kippur. He didn't become Tomei at all. So why is he going to the mikveh 5 times? So the answer is, a mikveh does 2 things. A mikveh removes impurity, and a mikveh adds kedusha. To the kedusha you have already, it adds more kedusha. So the same thing, the Paraduma, the same thing with the city of refuge, same thing. It's not the practical level of Tumah v'Tahara, it's a higher level of Tumah v'Tahara.
The concept of Biyat HaMashiach is accepted throughout history by all luminaries in unison, always the same.
You mean Jews or Goyim?
Pardon?
Jews or Goyim?
No, Goyim. No, I'm sorry, Jews. Within Judaism, where they always...
Animamin, B'amunah, Shalema, B'bias HaMashiach, it's one of the 13 principles of belief that the Rambam brings down. In fact, the Rambam, at the end of Rambam, when he speaks about Mashiach, it was censored by the Romans, but in many Rambams it's back already. We put in the censored. The Rambam writes that the reason why Hashem made this concept of Yoshke and Muhammad is because to get the world ready for Mashiach, Hashem wanted that even the Goyim should have a concept of Mashiach, that the world should have an understanding or a conceptual concept, so to speak, of Mashiach. So Hashem made this sky Mashiach in their world, that they should also talk about Mashiach.
They do, Muslims do.
I'm talking about the Christians, the coming and the coming and the becoming and the whatever. And then you have the level of Nevuah that's going to come back. The Rebbe writes, before Mashiach's coming, there's going to be Nevuah back in the Jewish people. The Rebbe said that already a long time ago. That Nevuah is going to become into the world before coming of Mashiach. And of course the Rambam with that. And therefore, Hashem brought a prophet called Muhammad. He doesn't use called Muhammad there, but a prophet that people should have the concept of prophecy in the world. Are they still here?
No, they left.
They're coming.
More coming, more coming.
No, they're probably coming to arrest the guy.
They come when the fire is out.
They're coming through
It's easier.
No, really. What happened? Anybody know what happened there?
I don't see any smoke outside.
Huh?
Rabbi, we talked
What?
Accident. Small accident.
Accident. No, because first it stunk from fire. The fire department came over. Okay, it's good. What?
We're talking about Mashiach.
I know Mashiach's coming
Very exciting.
with the fire engines. Okay, so he says that so the Mishnah is the refining. Who does the refining? The Tanoim that said the Mishnah. In Torah Shabbat Peh, they were the ones that said the Mishnah. But Commissioner calls for Isonim Eis starts Isonim Eis is Tanoim. Shehein Amayastim Esa'aretz. They founded, they're the foundation of the world in Torah Shabbat Peh. Like it says, Maskil Eisan, Shemamshich and Bechinas Maskil. Eisan is also the word Tanoim. Tana. So they bring down Maskil Eisan. The level of Seichel, Chochma, this come down through the Tanoim, therefore it's called Malchus of the Queen, Sheyach Yichud Amelech Ima, who Talmud. What's the difference between the wife of the king and the concubines of the king? The wife of the king is constantly with the king. The concubines when he wants them. So he says Mishnah is called the Malchus of the Queen, because that's one with Hashem as the king. Torah is one with Hashem. In the level of Yichudu Amshachas Mad. The Amshach of Mayim Tchud and the masculine water, awakening from above of Chachma Ilah, Levader Amandaban, to refine the Aveda down here. Behind Waidei Tanoim. That's who the Tanoim, Chachme Amish, Ki Tanoim Eisius Eisanim. Shebekabel Bechinas Chachma. Tanoim receive from the level of Chachma. Maskul le'esan, so the Tanoim get the level of maskul, which is chokhmah, and therefore they have the ability with that level of bitul talukus to decide what could be refined, what can't be refined, and it's all up to them. Al derech Moshe kibul Torah Mesina, u'neviim sarul anshe knesses hagedela. So where did Torah come from? Moshe. Moshe's level of chokhmah. V'nachnu ma, Moshe Rabbeinu said. Right? Moshe Rabbeinu, even the name Moshe is ma with a shin. So Moshe Rabbeinu is a level of chokhmah. Right? And therefore, that's what at the end of the Seder today, the end of Parsha Shmos, when Moshe Rabbeinu was complaining to Hashem, since you sent me, you made it worse. And Hashem, at the beginning of Vayera, starts screaming at him, I missed the others, they never complained, and you do. So why did the Moshe Rabbeinu complain? The answer is, the Nevi'im, the others are chesed, gvur, teferes. Midas, don't ask any questions. Midas are midas, emotions. Moshe Rabbeinu is chokhmah v'atzilus. Chokhmah needs explanations. Why?
So why complain?
If it doesn't help anyway, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, so what is the attribute of
Okay, it's not for now. If Hashem screamed at Moshe Rabbeinu for asking a question, yeah, why did the Torah leave it in? Torah doesn't even speak negatively about behemoths. Even begnus behemoth tmeah, even the negativity about a trait for animal, Torah doesn't speak. So why should it speak about Moshe Rabbeinu at the end of this week's Parsha? Why? So the answer is, the question stays a question. You have to ask the question. Hashem wants us to ask, why are you doing this? As long as it doesn't hinder our Torah mitzvahs. Okay, because I got angry at God, I'm not doing it. Okay, it's a cop-out. You get angry at Hashem, Hashem wants us to get angry at him. Why are you doing this? Not to ourselves, to another Jew. Lama reis, lama zeh. Yeah, a Jew is obligated to a question of Torah. Torah says a Jew needs to ask Hashem, lama reis, lama zeh. Hashem said, okay, good, it's a question. But you know what? Not everything you have to understand.
Self-interest too, for
Huh?
other people or for ourselves too?
No, ideally the screaming at Hashem is for other people. Because the person, whatever happens to me, is supposed to think I deserve it, plus. So what are you complaining about?
You can't scream at Hashem, you can ask questions, right?
I mean,
when you're hurt?
by the way, when you talk low, by Hashem is also screaming. I mean, no, Hashem wants us to scream at him. You ever said that expression, Daf Shraim? You have to scream at Hashem. It's a question Torah says you have to ask. As long as it doesn't hinder that because of the question, because the Yesod, the foundation is belief. So even if I don't understand, I still do it. But Torah says you got a head, use it. You have a brain, use it. Try to understand. Ask questions.
You don't get the answer.
How do you know you don't get answers? Maybe the answer is no.
I don't comprehend the answer.
That's something else. It's not surprising, by the way. Because nobody understands. Nobody understands. If we would understand, we would be what's called God. And we're not God, believe it or not. We think we're God.
So why?
We think we're God's great gift to the world. We think we're greater than God. But the fact is, we are not God.
If you don't hear and don't understand the question, answer, why ask?
Because Torah says you need to ask. That's the point.
But what's the point of
Because Hashem needs to see, not that he doesn't know, but from our perspective, Hashem needs to see that we care about somebody else and we're screaming about it. Let me give you a simple mashal. Okay? There's a classroom of kids. Somebody pulls off a shtick, and the teacher's trying to find out who it is. Okay? And the kids know who it is. And the teacher says to the kids, okay, if you don't tell me, the whole class is punished. Okay? So sometimes you'll have a class where the kid, well, yeah, he did it. Why should I get punished for him? He did it. Another class will stick together and they don't care. We're together. Yeah? We're all in it together. Yeah? Now, which class is a better class?
the one we stick together?
Okay, eye for the teacher, he wants to know. But down deep, the teacher says, this is a class. They stick together. He's not going to tell the kids that, right? Yeah. But down deep, the teacher says, this is a bunch of snitchers, selfish kids, don't care about themselves, you know? Hashem wants us to care about another Jew. What?
Punished, and we wouldn't say anything.
We are such a good class. You are such a good class. You got but he's also very good. So I know who's going to get the class award. We'll have to split it.
No, kids.
Yeah, but a lot of times you have kids that won't. They'll snitch. You know, because they're interested in themselves. And the teachers should be very upset when the kid does that, by the way. The school wants to know who broke the window. You know what I mean? Because they want to collect the money. But down deep, the school says, these are kids. These are chinuch, you know. They were raised right. They stick together. Okay. Therefore he says like this. The people, the Mishnahs, their rulings in the Mishnah was not based so much on the Seichel. It was Mashi Kiblu Ish Mipi Ish HaMesha. Right? They what Moshe Kiblu Torah Sinai, and like he gave the proof. Rabbi Eliezer, the Gemara says in Sukkah like this: Yud Beis Amlam Shemaiti. He said 12 answers I heard. Yud Ches Amalam Lo Shemaiti. 18 I haven't heard. So figure it out yourself. What do you mean hasn't heard? Figure out the halacha yourself. The answer is no. What we heard from Moshe Rabbeinu, we accepted. Or like Akavi ben Malal. There's a very interesting thing. Akavi ben Malal on his deathbed.
Was what?
Akavi ben Malal was the greatest person in his time in the Beis HaMikdash.
Oh.
The Chachamim wanted to make him. He was arguing with the Chachamim on a certain halacha. He was the minority opinion. And they told him, if you change your opinion, follow us, we'll make you the Av Bezdin. He said, what do you think? I'm going to sell my soul for a little honor? I'm not interested. I'm not doing it. And he maintained his opinion until he died. When he died, on his deathbed, he told the son, listen, this that I ruled, the way I ruled, is because I heard it from the majority opinion. But you, who didn't hear from you followed the Chachamim. Not me, in that halacha. He says, "Ani shamati mipnei amerubim." I heard it from the majority of opinion. It's a mission. He says, Akavi ben Malal's son said to him, "Put in a good word for me." He said to him, "No, your actions will bring you closer to them, or your actions will distance you from them."
Commendable.
That's why they were great and we're not.